phenomena that determine the course of our lives. These forces begin long before we are born and continue after we perish.
Our lives are not our own. We are bound to others, past and present. And by each crime and every kindness, we birth our future.
I won't let you go again. I believe there is another world waiting for us, a better world. And I'll be waiting for you there.
You're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network. OutlawRadioNetwork.com.
Oh, it is so good to be back in the confines of my favorite place in the world, in the Mega Talk Radio studios, along with some of my favorite people in the world. K-Dog here at Black Tom, Lori the CEO, DJ D. My least favorite people are not here. Paul is somewhere else. Suck a fool. Thanks for checking out the show. We appreciate it. It's going to be a fun show tonight. I will tell you, coming up at 7:30 tonight, we're going to talk with Susie Sims. Now, that is not a name that will be known to most of you. I've known Susie for probably 20 years. And Susie is going to be joining us probably more than 20 years now that I think about it. She's actually she was a delegate this weekend in Spokane, in Browntown. I called it Browntown because nothing grows there because there's no rain. And it's brown and it's ugly and it's nothing but dirt and dead things because it's Spokane. Anyway.
Wow.
I lived in Spokane.
Yes, and then you left, and the only good thing about Spokane was gone. So we will have Susie on to talk about what happened at the state Republican brouhaha fiasco party convention, whatever you want to call it. I call it a cluster F, but whatever. But we'll have her on to talk about that because she was actually voting. She was one of the delegates that had a vote in whether or not the party endorsed Byrd. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about what she was thinking going in, how she voted, and how she feels about it after the fact. We'll do that at 7:30.
Okay.
In the meantime, we're just going to talk about a whole bunch of other stuff because God knows there's a lot of other stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
And
you had a fantastic weekend.
Oh, I had a great weekend.
I was going to say the journey, the exploits. I mean, we do want to hear about Vegas.
Well, listen, I'm not gonna indulge people with a whole bunch about Vegas because I think people are sick of hearing me talk about it. However, I will tell you this: we went and saw the Beatles Love Show, and I'd seen that before, but they're closing it in July because the Mirage is getting shut down.
What?
The Mirage got bought out by Hard Rock Cafe, and they're going to rip out the volcano. And they're going to put a giant guitar-shaped thing out there, and they're going to redo the whole thing. And it's not going to be the Mirage anymore. It's going to be the Hard Rock Cafe.
Wow.
Oh, but they're not leveling it.
I don't believe so. The
that's very
mock-up,
un-Vegas.
Yeah, I was going to say
the mock-up drawings look like they're keeping the hotel itself, but they're going to redo everything inside of it. Okay. But they are tearing out the volcano, which makes me sad. On top of that, so anyway, we went and saw Beatles Love. Mm-hmm. If you can get down there before July, go watch it. It's amazeballs. It really, really is amazing. Mm-hmm. I would watch it again.
Even if you're not a Beatles fan?
Yeah, because I'm not a Beatles fan.
I'm not either.
I'm really
I
not
think they're a little overrated, although
a lot overrated.
Yeah, although they were necessary in music.
There's just some really cool things that happen in that show. I don't want to give it away, but
sure.
It's a huge cast that performs. It's a Cirque du Soleil show. They do a lot of really cool stuff. There's some cool effects.
Oh, it's part of Cirque.
Yeah, it's a Cirque
I didn't
show.
know it was part of Cirque.
Yeah, I'm a huge Cirque du Soleil.
Here we go.
If you get a chance to go see it before July, I would go see it. We also ziplined on Fremont Street. It's the third time I've done that. That was amazing. There's a video on my Facebook page. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Cool. On top of that, we went and played an escape room on Monday morning before we came back.
Oh.
There's an escape room on the strip in the Caesar Forum shops on the very top floor. Mm-hmm. So we played one of the escape rooms there. We went to Fremont Street on Saturday night.
I love Fremont.
Checked out Fremont, and that was when I ziplined.
Yeah,
we-
that's my favorite part of Vegas.
Fremont.
Yeah.
I like Fremont, but I like the Strip better.
Do you?
I do. There's something for me about being on the Strip with tens of thousands of people.
See, I think
and
that's
the
where I lose it.
energy and the energy and the vibe and the feeling. It's why I love Vegas, right? I did lose way too much money gambling this weekend.
Oops.
Usually I don't lose that much, but I lost quite a chunk this weekend.
Uh-oh.
But it was fun.
And Vegas thanks you.
Yeah, we had a great time. I'm glad I supported the local economy. Went and ate dinner at Hell's Kitchen on Sunday, Gordon Ramsay's place.
How was that?
It was amazing. The lobster risotto is still to die for.
Oh,
And
that sounds good.
and then they make a drink called Love Notes from Gordon. And I don't know what's in it. I can't find a recipe for it.
Wait, Gordon Ramsay
Yeah,
actually loves.
Well, Love Notes from Gordon, but they come in these little pieces of paper that are rolled up, and they're in a long stick that's in the drink, and then at the top of that is the paper, right? And you unroll it, and it says mean things. So they're not loving notes, but they're
Right.
called or notes from Gordon or love notes from Gordon or something
Okay.
like that. But they're good.
Very, very good.
What is the porn music for?
Love notes from
Your
Gordon.
love notes from Gordon.
Oh yeah, good stuff. I was supposed to go see Ka on Sunday night. We made a last minute decision to buy tickets to see Ka, which is another Cirque show.
Is that like a Jungle Book spin-off?
No, Ka is it's like an Asian Japanese kind of war.
Oh.
And they have a stage, which if you're on AM, you can't see my hands. I apologize. But they have a stage, and the stage rotates up and down and sideways and angles. I've seen Cobb before, but other people in the group wanted to see it. At one point, the stage is up at a 90-degree angle, and they are fighting on ropes up against the stage.
Oh, that's kind of
Like half rappelled down. The stage is an LED screen.
Wow.
It's great, man. Yeah, if you haven't ever been to Vegas, you should go. And Kevin Nelson said in chat, everyone should visit the Strip at least once. Well, I would visit every couple of years, because what was there today is different than what was there last June when I was there. Fountain Blue opened up. Oh my God, what a snooze fest that place is. Fountain Blue opened up. Tropicana is closed.
What?
Yeah, Tropicana is getting leveled at the end of the month.
Wow.
Because the Oakland A's are moving to Las Vegas, and they're going to build the baseball stadium right on the Strip, which is stupid.
I missed that whole thing.
Yeah.
Oakland A's is, wow.
Are going to be in Vegas
so they're going to
now.
go to Sacramento next year. They're going to play in Sacramento for 3 years at a very small stadium while they wait for
the new stadium
in Vegas to get built. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's going to be a cool facility. It's going to be really awesome looking. But I don't know why you would give up that high priced real estate for
Right
a
on
baseball
the Strip.
stadium, where you could build it 2-3 blocks off the Strip, like they built the Raiders stadium,
and people will still go.
People will still go.
Yeah.
And you have really high priced property that you can put hotels on
Yeah.
and entertainment and all that kind of stuff. But more power to them.
Is anybody noticing that Vegas is becoming Southern California? They're
What do you mean?
taking the sports teams.
No, they're not taking any Southern California teams. They've just taken all the teams out of Oakland, which is in the Bay Area. And they took the Raiders.
Okay, true.
They took the Raiders.
And now the
and now the A's. With the last person leaving Oakland, please turn off the lights. Yeah, listen. Vegas is
inexpensive.
Vegas is the future
Okay.
of a lot of these sports leagues. Now that gambling is legal for the most part.
Mhm.
The NBA is going to expand in the next 3 to 5 years, and the two markets that are going to get teams will be Las Vegas and Seattle.
I hope so.
Yeah, Las
I hope
Vegas
we
and
get
Seattle.
a team back.
Kevin just said the same thing. He believes Vegas will get an NBA. Yeah, I think they will too. And I think it's a challenging situation, right? The NBA just blackballed somebody forever for betting on games. He had $1 million bet that he wouldn't get a certain number of points in a game. He bet on himself not to get the points. And when they went to go put him in late in the game, he said he was hurt and couldn't play. And the NBA found out, and now he's been blackballed for life. So I think being exposed to all the casinos all the time is questionable. Sean Mahout said Vegas is running out of water. Really interesting thing. So on Friday morning, we went out and did a tour of the Hoover Dam.
Mm-hmm.
So we hopped on a bus, did a 45-minute trip out of town, went out to the Hoover Dam.
Yeah, you're wearing your damn shirt.
I am wearing
right
my
now.
damn shirt. This is my damn shirt from the Hoover Dam, that damn shirt. And they were talking about the water levels in Lake Mead. Now, Lake Mead is the lake that was formed when they built the Hoover Dam.
Right.
And everybody has said, well, Lake Mead is too low. Lake Mead is too low. Lake Mead is too low just because of global warming. Interesting fact, it's not. The Lake Mead levels used to be way higher until the mid 80s. And there was a major flood. And the flood was literally inches from going over the top of the dam.
Oh,
That's a sizable flood.
Now, if you know anything about dams, if the
Yeah.
water goes over the tops, it'll cause catastrophic failure. They're not designed to hold that, right?
right.
So what they've done is they've intentionally lowered the water tables in Lake Mead down.
Mhm.
Now, there may be some attributable lower levels because of the fact that of global warming. Maybe they can attribute it to that. But when you go to Lake Mead, you'll see a white line way up here and the water level way down here. And the alarmists of the global warming community will say, well, see, that's how bad global warming has gotten. It's because it went from there. That's not what. Some of that maybe, but most of it is because
It was by design.
they wanted to let more water out of Lake Mead, keep Lake Mead at a lower level. So if they run into that again, they're not going to risk the flooding. So
Interesting.
again, now is Vegas running out of water? Maybe. I don't know.
Probably.
I think Vegas and Southern California and parts of Arizona are all kind of screwed for water at some point.
Oh yeah,
Water
water rights is the next political discussion in that area.
Well, last I saw, I thought I read something about Washington State being under a drought warning for this coming summer.
Oh, I don't know.
What?
Probably. Well, they didn't get a lot of
Yeah.
snow up in the mountains. And we didn't, they didn't get the snowpack they're used to. I'm not surprised. I will tell you this though. Crap, I just lost what I was going to say.
Snowpack,
About drought warnings?
Yeah.
Las Vegas.
Something. I don't know. Vegas was phenomenal. I recommend you go. If you'd like to hire me as your tour guide, I will gladly go with you. I will book all the cool events. All you have to pay for is my airline ticket, my hotel room, and one meal a day.
That's pretty cheap.
But I'll go with, and again, I'm going to use your credit card to book all the events and stuff, right? I'm not paying for your events, but I will be your tour guide. I will take you to all the cool places. I'll show you all the cool things. Go to some underground places. Go over to Ellis Island. Ellis Island, you can get a $10 chicken fried steak dinner for $10, which is unheard of in Vegas, but you can get it at Ellis Island, which is just a block off the strip behind the Horseshoe, which used to be Bally's.
God, I remember when you used to be able to go to Vegas for the super cheap buffets. All the food was super low prices.
Not anymore. COVID shut down most of the buffets in Vegas.
Mhm.
Some of them have reopened, but they're only open like 11 to 3. So they're not even open for breakfast, and they're not open for dinner. They're just open at lunch in the middle of the day.
Brunch and lunch.
And because I think what they learned is, if we don't have buffets, people will go to the higher priced restaurants.
Yeah,
And
maybe.
so they just go to the higher priced restaurants.
Well, the last time I was in Vegas, they had just opened the Bellagio.
So one of the coolest place I've ever stayed was at the Bellagio when I had comps at the Bellagio. So I got a free room for 4 nights.
Mhm.
And then I paid an extra $50 a night and I got a room that overlooked the fountain. So I was looking out the Bellagio towards the fountain with the Eiffel Tower across the street.
That'd be cool.
That was the coolest place I've
That
ever
would be
stayed.
very cool.
But I don't believe in staying in cool places in Vegas. I mean, I'm not going to stay at Circus Circus. That place is a rat's nest. Okay. But I don't need an expensive, like I've stayed. I usually when I go, I either stay at Luxor, Excalibur, or the Link because they're cheap rooms. They're nice rooms, but they're cheap rooms. They're dated rooms, but who cares? Like I'm not trying to impress a girl. I'm not bringing a girl with me to Vegas. And what do I do in my room besides sleep and shower? I sleep, I shower, I leave. That's it. And I'm gone for 15 hours and then I come home and do it again. So why would I want to get a Bellagio room or Caesar's Palace or Paris and pay out the ass?
Henderson then?
No, because I want to be on the strip. I don't want to
Okay.
be paying out the butt for Uber. I don't want to have to taxi. I want to be able to walk right out of my hotel onto the strip and into the Vibe and all that. The Link is a great place to stay.
That didn't even exist last time I was in Vegas.
The Link is so it's the old Imperial Palace.
Okay.
It's now the Link.
Okay.
And they have a promenade outside where you walk down and there's all kinds of businesses. It's great, man. The Link, if I had to tell you my favorite place to stay, it's the Link.
Okay.
Now, the rooms aren't expensive. They're clean. They
clean's
only have a rooftop pool, which is over 21. It's a little bit too ruckus for me. And a lot of drunk frat boys and frat girls there. But otherwise, man, I go to Vegas. Knock yourself out. It's
Oh,
really cool.
I gotta take a vacation one of these days.
Robert said in the chat, interesting fact, Lake Mead has striped bass that eat trout. Below Boulder Hoover Dam has trout. Washington wants to allow fish to pass dams. Nevada does not. I don't know. There's a political statement in there somewhere. It is Robert Parker. But they had some big-ass fish in on the Lake Mead side of Hoover Dam, because when you go to Hoover Dam, you can walk across it.
Mhm.
And so we walked across, and I actually looked down over into the Lake Mead side. There's big ass fish down there.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if those are the striped bass or big ass trout or a combination thereof.
There's
But
not-
when you can see big fish, and you're at the top of the dam, and you're looking down into the water, and you can see big fish, those are some big ass fish.
that's a big
Mhm.
fish.
That's a big fish.
Yeah.
Margie said circus. Margie, never stay there. That place is a crap show. That place is disgusting, dirty, and horrible. And I will tell the story again someday about the blood-soaked bed linen I found when I checked in my room.
That is
Ooh,
gross.
that's
Sean said he stays
disgusting.
at the Stratosphere. Stratosphere's nice. I've never stayed there. It's too far off the strip for me. It's a little too far down for me.
Yeah, back when my last trip to Vegas, we did stay out in Henderson, but they had shuttles that went to the strip.
Oh yeah. I just
Yeah,
don't,
they
I don't
still
wanna
have
be-
all that.
I would assume so. That's why Henderson can get people to stay out there, because they will bring them into the strip.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a slave to somebody else's schedule. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be like, it's a 10 o'clock shuttle and a 12 o'clock shuttle, and I wake up and just miss the 10 o'clock shuttle, and then I'm stuck in Henderson for 2 hours. Like, who wants to be stuck in Henderson for 2 hours? Not me.
Well, at least explore the hotel you're staying in. Take 2 hours and explore.
Oh, whatever. Stop it. You're making sense. Yeah. So, I don't think the monorail goes down to Stratosphere, though. I think the monorail only goes as far south as across from, I don't know. I'll have to look. They do have the monorail, and they do have the Deuce buses too. They're called the Deuces.
What?
The bus line's called the Deuce. You take the Deuce. So I haven't ridden the buses
So
because
do
I've
you
heard
take
stories.
a deuce or do you leave a deuce?
Well, I would assume you take the Deuce from one stop to the other.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to leave it alone. Anyway, no, but listen, it's a great time to go to Vegas, and like I said, I can be hired as your official tour guide, fun booker, all of that. Just reach out to me or DM me on Twitter at OutlawKDog. Okay, so at the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk about what happened in Spokane with the state Republican Party endorsing Semi Bird after Dave Reichert basically took his toys and went home.
Right.
I'm going to reserve any other comments besides this until after our guest, because I'm not trying to taint anything. But Susie Sims, who's again, I've known her for 23 years, something like that. She was a delegate who voted on the floor on the endorsement.
Right. This will be a good follow-up, because when you were away in Vegas, Robert Parker came in on Sunday and we talked, because he was in Spokane.
Oh, I saw it.
also.
Yeah. Was he drinking before he came in? He looked like he was having a hard time sitting up straight in his chair.
No.
I'm
he
kidding,
was-
Robert. I know you're in chat. That's the only reason I said it. Sean said he thinks the monorail goes to the Sahara. I'll have to check. I'll have to check.
Yeah. So anyway, the conversation with Susie will just kind of be good follow-up and another perspective. And
Well, no, I think it'll be great to talk to her to find out what her thought was as somebody voting, right?
Mhm.
And I have a little bit of backstory I'm not going to share, but she had kind of a journey to get to how she voted. She was there thinking one thing, kind of leaning one way and thinking and experiencing things, and then made a decision later on based on new information. And so I think it'll be interesting to get her story. And so we'll talk about that. Before we do that, did you guys hear about all the protests that have been happening this week across college
yes.
campuses?
college campuses are ablaze everywhere.
Yeah, well, USC is one of the bigger ones that has gotten out of hand. So the USC main campus, the University Park campus, has been closed due to the protests. Now, if you're not following this, the protests are protesting what? They're protesting for support of Palestine.
Right.
Okay. We support Palestine. Okay, fine. Knock yourselves out. I don't have an issue with pro-Palestinian protests. I know a lot of people do because they're Palestinian and they side with Hamas and they're all terrorists. And that's not true. There's a lot of people in Palestine that are women and children that are kind of stuck where they're at.
They're non-combatants.
They're non-combatants and they really don't have a say. Like women and children in Palestine don't have a vote. They don't have a say.
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if you want to protest for Palestine and the Palestinian people that are stuck in the middle of this war, fine.
But don't embrace Hamas.
Don't embrace Hamas.
Yeah, don't embrace Hamas
And don't be,
ideology, I guess, from the river to the sea and all that nonsense. Because
Well-
that's not pro-Palestine.
and
That's
don't be
pro-Hamas.
don't be so pissed off at Israel. Like, I get it. You don't like what Israel's doing. And Israel's really taking this further than I thought they were going to, because they pushed a whole lot of people to the south end of
Mhm.
Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
And now Israel's heading to the south end of Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've basically got all these refugees and evacuees that have all gone to the south end. Well, what were you going to do with them when you got there? I mean, if your plan was to continue going south if you're Israel, wouldn't it have made sense to do a more methodical approach, thin the herd, be a little more humanitarian, walk through the process? That's probably our guest, Dennis. Walk through the process and not send them all south. Because eventually you're gonna have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or whatever the total number of people are of people pinned in southern Palestine with nowhere to go, and Israel looking for Hamas. And where's Hamas going to be? Right in the middle of all those people that are pinned into the southern end of Palestine.
Yep.
So I don't know what Israel's end result is. More power to them. I'm sure they've got a plan. Israel's relatively smart, especially in their military. But anyway,
their intelligence community is
top
amazing.
Notch.
Yeah,
top notch. The larger issue for me is why. What are we hoping to gain by shutting down college campuses, which are generally going to be like-minded people, right? Do you honestly think that if you're a protester at the University of Southern California, that you're going to shock the granola-eating, Birkenstock-wearing, tree-hugging students that are down there and to be like, oh my God, we need to think twice about what's going on in Palestine? No,
they're out of touch.
They're out of, well, not only are they out of touch, but they're more likely to agree with the protesters' political agenda, which means you don't enforce any change. Like if you're a pro, and I'm not advocating for this, okay? Because I say this because I know that they're not going to do it. If you really want to enforce some kind of change, some kind of like methodical like alteration to public policy.
Are you talking as a protester?
Yes.
Okay.
Then you protest in areas where people don't support what you're protesting.
Right.
Okay. So you go to, I don't know.
You go to a blue place and promote red. Or you go to a red place and promote blue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if I'm a protester in Southern California, you are singing to the choir.
Right.
Oh, we've shut down the college. Well, great. You've just given people some more time to do their homework assignments. Congratulations. But you're not going to force any change. No. What they should have done is gone to Knoxville, Kentucky.
Tennessee.
Whatever. It's the middle of nowhere. Nobody lives there. Who cares? Outlaw Radio Network. Susie Sims joins us next to talk about the big Republican get-together in Spokane.
You know there's good whiskey in Tennessee.
Yes, there is.
So there's something there.
Back after this. Hey, it's K-Dog with the Outlaw Radio Network. We are everywhere. You can follow us on all your favorite social media channels, including Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Vimeo, and more. And if you want to follow me personally, hop on your Twitter and just search for K-Dog the Outlaw. And don't forget our really cool website, outlawradionetwork.com, full of all the cool merch you've been looking for. Outlaw Radio Network. Are you an outlaw yet? Admin a la carte are specialized local experts committed to helping you run your small business. From general admin and sales support to marketing, digital media and technology to real estate and compliance. Admin a la carte's only goal is to take your business to the next level. Find out how Admin a la carte can elevate your business. Visit admin-alacarte.com for more information. That's admin-alacarte.com. Admin a la carte. Your business doesn't fit into a box. Why should you have to?
Are you ready to elevate your spirits? Look no further than Black Ring Spirits, your local craft distillery nestled in Town Square Mall. Indulge in the smooth richness of our handcrafted spirits, meticulously distilled to perfection. Whether you prefer the bold kick of our bourbon or the subtle sophistication of our gin, Black Ring Spirits has something for every palate. Visit us today at Town Square Mall and experience the essence of true craftsmanship. Black Ring Spirits, where passion meets perfection, unconventionally traditional.
Hey, it's K-Dog here. Don't forget to check out our brand new website, outlawradionetwork.com. Not only can you catch live streaming of our live shows, you can catch an archive of all of our older shows. On top of that, the coolest merch on the web. Outlaw Radio gear is available with some great stuff now and more stuff to come. Only available at outlawradionetwork.com. Get outlawed on outlawradionetwork.com.
Welcome back to Outlaw Radio Network.
I'm Brandy Cruz, host of the Undivided Podcast, and you're listening to Outlaw Radio. Good luck.
All right, Outlaw Radio, thanks for checking out the show. Paul should be joining us shortly, but I'm not sure when. Oh, when he just left. So he was in the chat in our onboard area to bring him on in video, and then he's gone. So I don't know what happened to him. But we are joined instead by somebody I have not spoken to in eons, in ages. One of my favorite people on the entire planet. Susie Sims joins us by his telephone on the Black Ring Spirits hotline. Hello, Susie.
Well, hello, Kevin. How are you doing?
Good, beautiful. A long time no speak. I haven't seen you in days.
I know it's been at least 3 or 4 days. No, it has been way too long. And I got Dennis on the line earlier, my very dear Dennis. It's just been wonderful to hear you both.
Well, it's like Old Home Week. We should all get together and grab dinner or something and catch up sometime. Listen, I haven't set this up at all other than to say that you're a delegate and you are in Spokane. I know it's pronounced Spokane, but let's face it, nobody lives there, so nobody cares if I mispronounce it. You were in Spokane for the Republican convention, and I'm going to let you open with just kind of explaining what you were expecting or kind of what you thought was going to happen as a delegate as you were deciding how you're going to cast your vote and kind of what you were looking forward to and how you thought this was going to play out. What did you expect coming into the convention?
You know, first of all, I want to open by saying that I guess in all fairness, you got a 2-for-1 deal here going, because my husband was also a delegate and he's sitting right here next to me. So, if I say something out of order, he may reach over and smack me and say, but.
What's his first name?
George.
Hello, George.
Hello, Kevin. How are you?
Good, man. How are you? Okay.
But, we're pretty much on the same page. It was unexpected that about 70 to 80% of the delegates there were new. It was their first time attending any kind of state convention like that. In itself, that was really telling. Didn't know that till I got there. I didn't know what to expect. George didn't know what to expect. It's our first time going to a convention like this. We showed up on Thursday, and the first thing that I saw, Kevin, was that Semi Bird was out there shaking hands and kissing babies. I mean, he was working the crowd. He had a huge group of people that were passing out buttons, and after a while, they were looking at me like I was some sort of like weird person because I didn't have a Semi Bird shirt, pin, button, cowboy hat, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, they were looking at me like, do you need a button? Is there something wrong with you? Where's your button? Really, really felt odd, because at that point, I was pretty solid behind Reichert. I went up to Dave Reichert's booth, and they had 3 people behind the booth, all, pretty young folk. And I said, hey, so who are you guys? And they kind of looked at me with this blank stare and said, oh, well, we are Dave Reichert's campaign staff. I'm like, oh, well, where's Dave Reichert? Oh, well, he's going to be here tomorrow. All right. And I had a conversation with one of them, and I said, optically, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of engagement from Dave Reichert because, I have Semi Bird out there, kissing babies all over the place, and Dave Reichert's not even here, and his campaign staff is hiding behind the booth. I said, there's an optic here you guys need to be aware of. Mm-hmm. And so he thanked me for my input. Thursday went just fine.
He thanked you for your input, which was a nice way of saying they told you to F off, right? I mean, it was just kind of just move along.
It was just, he was young. He was a young kid. He really did. I don't think he had a lot of experience, to be honest with you. So anyway, we get into Friday. George and I, again, were pretty solidly in Dave Reichert's camp and feeling kind of outnumbered because it was solidly Semi Bird fans. If it was a Trump convention, the same, just that sort of enthusiasm. And everybody was just so engaged and so pro Semi Bird. of course, George and I are going, whoa, this is really strange. We got into the convention, and the chairman of the candidate committee came out, and she announced that they had done an interview based on a Seattle Times article. They had gone back and re-interviewed Semi Bird and found out that there was something that he hadn't disclosed on his interview. And therefore, rather than, just say, okay, Semi Bird, you're off the ballot, and give, Reichert the nomination, they said, we're just going to take them both off the ballot. We're just not going to provide an endorsement for either of them. Which, if you think about it, they're between a rock and a hard spot. They're in this convention with all of these folks that are just so pro-Bird, and the place erupted, Kevin. There was so much passion for their candidate. The place erupted, and that's not a bad thing. And so finally they, somebody from that group, using Robert's Rule of Order, it was all done by the book, made a motion to suspend the rules in this case so that Semi Bird could get back on the ballot. And of course, it was seconded and voted on. And with that much of a majority in the room, it passed easily. So now we can put Semi Bird back on the ballot. Within 10 minutes, we got notified via, I can't even remember who, somebody up at the podium, that Dave Reichert had withdrawn his request for nomination because he felt like we were in utter chaos and the Washington State GOP didn't know what they were doing. Assessment, and by golly, I was ready for him to fight for us, to fight for our endorsement, to say something. But what happened is he took his campaign staff and he packed everything up and they left, citing that he felt like the crowd, the mob, could possibly pose a danger to his campaign staff. So, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it. So Saturday comes, I sit there and I'm looking at it. I'm looking at my ballot. And I finally voted for Semi Bird, because I feel like I wasn't important to Dave Reichert, that my vote wasn't important to Dave Reichert. And after listening to the speech that Semi Bird made, I agreed with like 95 to 99% of what he said. Now, understanding that both George and I are a little bit burnt from the last governor election, Colt lost by 20%. And one of the reasons I was so pro-Reichert is because I don't want that to happen again if we bring in a Semi Bird. Mm-hmm. And I still have that concern. But I tell you, when 80% of the people in that convention were first-time convention members, there is a movement that we haven't felt here before, much greater than what we felt with Colt. And I just had to throw my support behind him.
Let me ask a follow-up then, because there's been a lot of negative press in Republican circles about Semi. There's the Semi Bird Docs website that's got a whole bunch of information out about him. There's some Republicans have voiced pretty deep concerns about the amount of money he's got access to, and the fact that most of the donations he's got, he's already gone through those as part of campaign. He doesn't have a large war chest. Do you think that those things come back to bite him in a general in a way that wouldn't bite Reichert?
Well, first of all, I think that, anything negative that they have against him, which they can cite his court-martial, which he fessed up to, said, yep, I got court-martialed. He said, I struck an officer. I wasn't a good person then. I wasn't the person that I am now. And yes, I absolutely, and to be fair, now I don't know the accuracy or not, but when they interviewed him, the reason they took him off the ballot is because when they originally interviewed him, they asked him if he had any, felony charges against him, and he said no. Well, he had a misdemeanor against him 30 years ago, and he thought that they were asking about the last 15 years, not going back all the way to 30 years. And he did, I guess, take out a credit card in his dad's name for $1,500. He was caught. He paid it back. He's done restitution. He's 30 years ago, he said, my life has completely changed since then. And then there's he was kicked off the school board. Well, yeah, he was kicked off the school board because he didn't agree with the mask mandate. and he fought against it. So there's going to be a lot of partial truth sent out there to hurt him. And they just might. They just might. But as far as his war chest, I expect that that's going to, nobody knew who he was. And now that they know who he is and his name's out there, I expect that his war chest will increase, especially if the fan favorite followers, I don't know, you want to call them, continue to be as vocal and boisterous as they were at the convention.
Do you think the party rallies behind Semi at this point, or does this division between the Byrd camp and the Reichert camp remain for a while?
I think the party is going to rally around. We're done, Kevin. We are done with the nonsense that's happening in Olympia. We're done with Inslee. We're done with Ferguson. We're done with the nonsense. We will rally behind whatever candidate wins the primary. That I can tell you. Just like any other Republican primary, we're going to see some pretty nasty stuff between the candidates. And all I can say is whoever wins the nomination, I personally will support them 100%. And I think that the party will rally around him for sure. George, do you have any thoughts on that? Do you agree?
I thought the only thing I would add to that is the fact that there's one very large county here in Washington State that is very, very pro-Reichert. It's in the major area of Washington State, Tacoma, et cetera, that are going to rally hard behind him. My concern is that I do not see the GOP being able to muster enough votes on their own without pulling a lot of moderates into the election for governor and voting GOP.
Right. So
my count on that is that Dave Reichert probably has the better position with the moderate vote because there are a lot of purple in Thurston and King County and Pierce County that I don't know how much would align behind
Semi Byrd. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a little bit of that maybe Reichert will appeal more to moderates than Byrd would. There was an article that came out on what was it? Oh, it was on a local newspaper column called Inlander, where it talks about that a poll suggests, and this is back from February, but that the middle's going to decide who's going to take the governor's office. And there's a belief in some that maybe Byrd is a little bit too red and maybe Reichert be a little more purple might pull in some of those middle voters better. What do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that was my thought going into the convention. And that's still my thought. Now, I heard at the convention, I haven't verified since I've been home, that another Democratic candidate has thrown his hat into the ring for governor. Matter of fact, I did see an ad for him, didn't I?
Mullet.
Yeah, Mullet. And so my fear is that it's going to split the Republican Party to the point where neither Reichert nor Byrd gets on the ballot in November. But I don't, so I think that the Republican Party is going to have to come together prior to the primary. I don't know that that's going to happen because I would hate to see our party split to the point where we have the top two Democrats on the November ballot.
Well, we saw that last year. I think it was for Attorney General, right? Where the top two vote getters were Attorney General and they were both Dems.
Right.
It's a very real concern,
Yeah, it really is.
All right, Susie.
Well,
listen.
wait, before I get off the line, there's one person that I want to get his name out there because he absolutely impressed the hell out of me. And I'm actually going to actively work this guy's campaign because I was so impressed by him. And his name is Dale Whitaker.
Okay.
And he's running for state Secretary of State. And I tell you what, he's originally from England, from the UK. He lives in the Spokane area. He's a naturalized citizen. And if we want voting integrity back and some of the things we've been looking for from our Secretary of State that we haven't gotten, he's your guy.
Well, I just found his campaign website. I will drop that in our online chat so people can go do some research and learn more about him. So I'll drop that out there, and we'll see.
Anybody who says that his first point of order as Secretary of State is that he will have the state auditor audit the Secretary of State's office immediately for improvement, and then order an audit for
all the counties
and all of the government agencies in the state of Washington
that are doing votes. So, yeah, like the guy.
Well, and we'll reach out, see if we can get him on too.
I'm sure he'd be glad to.
I got some connections that way. We'll see what we can do. Susie,
Yeah.
George, Susie, well, it's great to talk to you. George, no offense, but Susie, I've missed the heck out of you. We need to get together.
I know you missed me.
We need to get together, grab a bite to eat, catch up, see what's going on. It would be great to catch up.
Yeah. You're doing great, Kevin.
Well, don't tell anybody. It's a
Missed
secret.
you.
It's a secret.
I know.
Don't
Talk
tell
to
a
you later,
soul.
darling.
Don't tell a soul.
Yeah.
All right, we love
Not
you
a
guys.
soul.
Thanks for
Not
taking
a-
some time out. Thanks
Love
for
you.
giving us the update.
Hey, reach over and give Dennis a big smooch for me.
I'll lick his face. I'll do it. I'll lick his face. Don't think I won't.
Oh, I'm so scared.
I ain't
now.
scared. I ain't
I know
scared.
Kevin's not scared. That's why.
No, Susie knew me back from bar days. She knows I ain't scared of nothing.
No, you are not.
I am not.
And
Susie.
we sing a hell of a duet, my friend.
Yeah, well, let's do some karaoke sometime. Let's go back out.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right. I'll talk to you
We'll
later.
coordinate it. Talk to you soon. Susie and George Sims, again, they were on the floor at the convention. The votes for Byrd. I'm just going to recap really briefly what she said, which is she went there expecting to vote for Reichert. But after feeling the energy of the crowd, the amount of support that they had, and then the fact that Reichert's team just basically pulled up shop and went home, it didn't really give her much of another choice. Like, here's Byrd, who's going to fight for us, who's going to network, who's going to shake hands. He's there working the room. And here's Reichert, who couldn't be bothered.
I have a... So without really having a dog in this fight, because I'm not a GOP guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But watching, I mean, I'm going to end up voting either Republican or Democrat in the governor's race because there's not a libertarian option,
right?
So
because they know better. But go ahead.
Yeah, maybe. It seems to me that the GOP is in mass getting behind Semi Byrd because he is more conservative, so he's farther right on the spectrum.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a good strategy for the state of Washington because Reichert is a little bluer,
a little purple,
a little purple, and I think more of the state can relate to him.
Yeah.
Not that I wouldn't like to see someone very, much more conservative in the governor's mansion because it's going to create more balance. But I'm afraid this is like a fast track to Sideshow Bob.
Well, that's what I'm afraid of. And if you saw the post that I made on Facebook earlier this week, I basically said Republicans have handed. I was in Vegas when I posted this too, by the way. That's how interested I was in this. The Republicans are attempting to hand over the governor's office to Bob Ferguson, and it's not because I don't like Semi.
I love Semi. I think Semi's great.
I don't dislike Semi at all. I'm not going to the Bird Docs website because I don't care. I mean, because I think listen, here's why I don't care. And I know Robert Parker's in the chat. He's the one that put the site together. He's got a lot of inside knowledge, and I'm not knocking any of that. But here's the problem. Do I honestly believe that Semi Byrd is any more inept, crooked, secretive, whatever negative adjective you want to assign
than any other
politician we just haven't caught yet? I mean, if the issue is that 30 years ago he stole a credit card in his dad's name, okay, 30 years ago. Meanwhile, Tara Simmons is one of the most supported and respected members of the Democrat Party in the House of Representatives, and she spent time in prison.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I'm not holding up Tara as like this monolith of virtue. I'm saying people can change. Yeah. People do change.
I hope people change.
Listen,
if you're the same person you were 30 years ago, I don't want you representing me.
Yeah.
Well, because I mean, 30 years.
Jesus.
There should be some like life change and some lessons and some growth. And no, you had better change in 30 years.
Well, I just there's no part of me that believes that and I'm still going to get him on the show. I'm going to reach out to him again tonight, actually, and I'm going to ask him this question because I want to be really transparent with him because I want to give him a chance to respond. Right? If he's got no money in his coffers, and if the Washington State Republican Party has very little money in their coffers to give to him, how does he put up a strong run? How is he not going to be Lauren Culp 2.0?
Well,
which is we have a lot of hype, we got a lot of excitement, but we're not going to track the moderate voters, and we don't really have the guns ablazing to go up against the entrenched Democrats. Tom,
the one hope I hold out for Washington State is people are going to vote with their bank accounts, and they're going to vote with their refrigerator, and they're gonna vote with the struggles that they've had for the past, what's it been, 2 years, 3 years? When we were supposed to have the big red wave and we didn't.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I'm hoping that maybe that big red wave is just delayed or something. Do I want it to get ridiculous? No. I don't want the pendulum to swing in a ridiculous direction the other way, but I'd like to see some balance.
I would love to see Republicans take the governor's office.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because then no matter what, there will be balance in government.
Right.
Listen, I'm not rooting against Democrats everywhere. I'm not that partisan.
No.
But I want some balance because right now we are bereft of balance. And I want balance.
Yeah,
so if Democrats want the House and the Senate, more power to them, But I want a governor that's a Republican because that line item veto comes into play.
Yep.
And then there can be some balance. That's what I want.
Well, it did some protection against the excessive taxes of our blue-blooded friends. I'm trying to be nice.
Well, and look, here's the problem, right? The problem is that Republicans have put themselves in a hole.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they continue to put themselves in a hole. And as long as they're perceived as being in a hole, people with money are not going to donate because they look at donating money to Republican causes and Republican candidates is flushing money down the commode.
Yep.
Right. So they have to figure out how to get where they need to be and say everything you want to about JT Wilcox, who headed the party for a little bit. I don't remember who the most recent guy was.
Caleb.
Caleb headed the party.
Heimlich.
I like Caleb Heimlich. I don't have an issue with him at all. But neither one of them could do what they needed to do, which was restore some faith that Republican candidates could start to win some of these seats. And now you're drying up financially. I talked to a guy 2 weeks ago on the inside in the Republican Party, and he told me, this is an insider in the Republican Party, and he told me right now, the Republican Party in the state of Washington is near death.
Mm-hmm.
That's
near
probably
death because there's not enough money being funneled around to make these races competitive and to bring up candidates.
I would argue that the Republican Party on the West Coast is probably near death.
Mm-hmm.
Whole West Coast.
Maybe. And the problem is I think Republicans could do really well if they could get messaging. Because I talk to a lot of people that are sick of the taxes and sick of inflation and sick of the price of gas and sick of the interference and all of this, right?
Well, that's what I mean when I say I hope Washingtonians are going to vote with, their bank accounts and their refrigerators and, look in the
Their
fridge.
gas tank.
Yeah, and their gas tank. And, think about the day-to-day struggles.
And their car tabs.
Oh,
if,
and yeah, don't
if
get me
one
started.
thing
don't
can
get me
make
going on
anybody
it.
upset in the whole state.
And yet it
everybody-
didn't. And yet it
everybody.
didn't. And yet it didn't.
Yeah, but Bob Ferguson was supposed to enact that.
Yeah. but-
Correct?
well, he was supposed to defend it because it was initiative, and
Yeah.
he did. It doesn't mean that he didn't. And I'm not in a position to say whether or not he gave it the proper amount of effort or the strongest defense he could have given. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But the end result is it clearly doesn't matter to voters
Mm-hmm.
because Democrats have more seats now in the House and in the Senate than they did before it happened. Okay. The governor's office hasn't changed parties since then. Everybody is clear. All I can say is voters are clearly okay with it. Voters clearly don't care. Oh, you took away our $30 license tags we voted in for 3 years previously? Nah, no big deal. We'll just continue to vote you in. Oh, you want to raise our taxes? Nah. Inflation's a mess? Nah. Government interference, meh. Capital gains tax, nah. Threat of a state income tax, nah. I mean, ferry systems run like garbage, nah. They don't care.
Oh, ferry system. Did you hear
Did you hear about the ferry system?
Yeah.
Oh, what happened while I was gone? What did they do while I was gone?
So so we all know that Bobblehead Inslee has got his his man parts all
head nod,
all aroused about an electric hybrid ferry, right? And that won't even be possible. I believe the article I was reading said something about until 2028.
Yeah,
right. So until then, Governor Bobblehead wants to just kind of string the ferry users along for another 2 years, 3.5, whatever it is. What year is it now? 2024. Yeah. 3.5 years.
Yeah.
He wants to string us along for 3.5 years until he can start to get his hybrid electric, ferry.
String along how though?
No new ferries. Just keep going status quo.
Yeah.
Whereas Sideshow Bob has gone and said, hey, I think we should go ahead and spend the money on a couple of diesel ferries and get the system back up to running.
Yeah.
Inslee called Sideshow a bonehead.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. The fractures have started, folks. The fractures have started. Look, listen, the ferry system, I believe, is an extension of the Washington State highway system.
It is. It's under the
It is
jurisdiction
important
of the
and
state
it is
patrol.
essential. It is important and it is essential.
Yeah.
The ferries need to be properly funded. Now, how you do that?
Funded and manned.
How you do that, I don't know. Okay. How you get around the Coast Guard regulations for the number of staff that have to be there, I don't know. How you get around the number of middle management mucky mucks that clog up the funding, I don't know.
I do.
But at some point, you have to properly fund, build, and staff that ferry system. Because as long as you don't, you are straining the economy.
Did you know that's
you're affecting people's abilities to get to and from work and do all the things they need to do in their lives.
Did you know it's the largest ferry system in the country?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the largest in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the largest in the world.
Yeah,
one of the safest in the world, too.
Yeah, definitely the largest in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go back to this. Robert said the problem isn't Semi's old criminal record. It's his continuing lies about his record. The stupid part is he could have easily inoculated his past, but can't on his current lies. Those are lies on audio, video, and in writing. The Republican stands for truth and values, or they don't. Doesn't matter what Semi, the false prophet, says at this point. But Robert, here's where you're wrong. Under your argument, the Republican Party no longer stands for truth or values because the party backed him. And what I don't understand, and I should have asked Susie about this when we had her on, why would the party have said, well, we're just not going to endorse either one of them? Why was Reichert off the table for endorsement from the onset? If I'm Reichert, I don't show up in Spokane either. I mean, if the WSRP said, we got this guy named Semi, and there's some lies that are out there, and so we're not going to endorse him at all. And we're also not going to endorse you. Not because we don't have any good reasons. We're just not going to endorse you. If I'm Reichert, why would I go? Why would I spend campaign money? Why would I spend my time? Why would I do it? Why wouldn't I just stay where I'm at? And I people are going to understand that at some point. They're going to, and I should have asked Susie about it. If I'm Reichert, why the hell do I show up? What benefit is it of me to show up in Spokane when I know the party's already decided I'm not getting the nomination no matter what? Regardless of what shenanigans Byrd may or may not have done, it's not going to be me. If I'm Reichert, I might have stayed home too. I mean, I get Susie's point. If you're going to fight for us, we want you to fight for us. We want you to be there and shake hands and fight for us, and maybe you don't get the nomination, but get your face out there, shake people's hands to let us know you're not giving up. So I get it. But if I'm Reichert, I know I'm going to get hosed in the end. Why do I go? We'll discuss this on the Facebook side. We'll get your guys' thoughts. We'll check out the comments in the chat as well. Outlaw Radio. All right, Outlaw Radio. We're going to bring Paul on with us as he is driving in the car with his microphone muted. Looks like he's heading out towards Belfair. It looks like he's in the middle of nowhere. But St. Paul, the voice of reason, I can't drive 55! Go ahead, Paul. What's going on, buddy?
Well, at least you weren't singing a damn Journey song. Did you know that Queen had so many songs in the top Billboard 100?
At all, Paul. I don't know if you can hear us, but we've got no...
Try again.
Try again, Paul.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, no audio at all. And he's not muted on our end, and he's not muted on his end.
I'm not. This has happened multiple times.
I wonder what's going on.
I don't know why this happens.
The problem is, but can't do nothing about it at the moment.
Okay, you know what the problem is, though?
Yeah, the thing needs to be rebooted.
The computer needs to be rebooted?
Computer, or at least the external sound card.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait. Paul, call in. Call in on your cell phone. We love you, buddy. I'm sorry.
Oh, and Heather says she can hear Paul in the chat.
Oh, the listeners can hear Paul,
yeah,
but we can't.
It's the same thing every time, guys.
Whatever
Sorry,
you're saying,
listeners.
Paul, the listeners can hear you.
I don't know. I don't know why they can't
Damn you,
fix this or
Kevin.
what's so hard about it.
Well, we reboot this computer like 5 times before the show tonight because it was giving us some issues.
Yeah.
So, all right, Paul, we're going to take you off of Flow. Call in on the phone. We love you. Put your pants back on. All right. Robert says the WSRP's proposal to penalize Riker for misbehavior of Bird. Robert, maybe you can answer this in the chat. Why are you still affiliated with the Republican Party? In the state level Republican Party, why would you still be affiliated with him? If I'm a Reichert guy, I'm pissed. You know what I mean? If I'm a Reichert supporter, I'm pissed right now. Because they had no reason to take Reichert off if they were going to take off Bird. Now, I know that didn't end up happening, and they ended up putting Bird back on the ballot. But isn't it we're on Facebook, isn't it a great fuck you to say to Reichert, well, we're going to take Bird off the ballot, and we're going to take you off too, for no reason whatsoever, other than the fact that we don't want you.
I think the problem between the state party and Reichert was Reichert's too purple.
I get that.
People didn't like his voting record, etc., which is why everyone's pushed for Semi. So there's an emotional separation with the party between those two candidates. And then because of Semi's, issues and the party's dislike for a purple candidate, they just threw their hands up in the air.
I think it was that.
Really quickly, Susie just sent me a message.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I reached out to the Whitaker campaign and told them you might want to interview him and that you weren't a douche. Thank you, Susie. Go ahead, Lori.
I think it was what Tom was saying, but there was another piece of it. And from what I've understood from different sources, that leadership was a little unnerved that they might have a mob issue if they took Bird off and kept Reichert on. I'm not saying it's right. And the people that I talked to also did not agree that it was right.
We're the Republican Party. We stand for truth and honesty and fairness and transparency, unless it comes to our convention.
Yeah.
Like, okay, and maybe you're right. Maybe they just were opposed to him from the outset because he's purple. But can we have the honest conversation about how Bird is expected to win this race because he's not going to unless he's got a huge influx of money coming? Like, again, this is not about Bird. I like Bird. I like his message. I really do. I know a lot of Republicans that listen to this show don't like him. I know that they wish he'd go away and step out of the race so Riker could be the guy. I don't dislike Bird at all. But if he doesn't have any money, how does this not become Lauren Culp 2.0? Which is, oh, look at all these people that are excited. We're going to have rallies, and it'll be the same 65 people going to every rally, and it'll be great. And then when it comes to the election, they get pounced on because there's not enough money out there to spread the message.
Mm-hmm. And the same money walked out the door when they saw all this going down.
Yeah.
The money in this state literally walked out the door, and multiple sources have confirmed that.
Well, and as you guys said, you guys heard from somebody, I don't know if it was said on air, so I'm not going to say who said it, but somebody told you guys the state Republican Party had less than $60,000 in their bank account. What do you do with less than $60,000 in your bank account? You can't even buy nuggets for your campaign staff, man.
Make it count.
All right, we're going to go to break. When we come back, more of the show. It's Outlaw Radio on the Megatalk Radio Network.
The older people, I know you're getting a little edgy right now, but you better get into me because I don't want to bum you out, but I'm the future of America.
This is the Outlaw Radio Network.
Good evening, my fellow citizens.
It's kind of stony, huh?
It's a real thing. A radio signal from another world.
Check this out.
The United States government presents
the Outlaw Radio Network.
To provide guidance to mankind.
By the way, to the millions and millions of people that are asking, yes, I have lost weight. Thank you for noticing. In the last year, I am down. Hold on, let me think. I'm down about 60 pounds in the last year. Hooked on crack worked for me. Let's go to the phone lines and somebody else who's hooked on crack. Hello, Paul.
Well, it depends on how nice she looks in the right kind of jeans.
You're talking about your wife, right? Because that's the only woman you'd be talking about looking nice in jeans is your wife, right, Paul?
Well, you just said I was hooked on crack, man. Listen, you can look at the menu, you just don't order off of it. And Katie,
your wife doesn't listen to this show.
Joke.
Yeah, I was gonna say your wife doesn't listen to this show, does she?
Remember, she killed a turkey on air.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was going to say, Lori. If she does, I'll be on the dinner table, and I don't mean naked with food draped all over me. I'll be the food. So, yeah. That's one thing. I don't mess around with her. I was joking with her the other day, and she's like, I know my husband would never cheat. I'm like, you are right, darling. I am addicted to breathing and allergic to pain. So,
amen to that. I still want to have her as a guest sometime. Could you work on that?
You know what? I will work on it, but honestly, it's really hard to do because with her job, like Lori can talk about, she works. Like last night, she was at work till 11 o'clock at night. Oof. I mean, she's doing three people's jobs. She's doing payroll. She's doing all the controller work, and she's doing accounts payable. So, that's for 2 automotive dealerships. So there's a lot on her plate, man.
Yeah, no, I know there is. I would just love to have a Paul Madden "This Is Your Life" night. Or have your wife on for a little bit. Maybe your ex-wife can come on for a little bit. We'll get all your brothers to come on. Bring Hunter on. That'll be great.
Hunter's in town.
Is he in town?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's in town. So I'm hoping that he'll be until like May 5th.
Oh, so will he be in studio this Sunday?
It's going to depend on how things work out because, as I've said, Sundays for me are really, really difficult because of, because we live so far out. When somebody tries to break in, when somebody tries to break into your house while your kids and wife are there, that makes you. I mean, when that happened last year, right? I mean, I was like, yeah, we bought a house. I love it out here. It's beautiful. We were there for 2 months, and I'm in the radio station doing the show live on a Sunday night. My phone starts blowing up, and she's like, I can't find the keys to the gun safe. I can't find the keys to the gun safe. Yeah, because they were on my damn keychain, and it's just one of those things I didn't think about, right? And so I just ultimately said to her, I'm like, well, we have 4 cattle dogs. Open the door, and it was a woman because they heard her screaming when she jumped over the fence. Tweaked my gate, dang it. She tweaked my gate, but, so be it. I guess she was a fat tweaker. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
So I will say this. I would be more afraid of your wife trying to break into the house than I would be of you.
You're right, because I would actually try to have a conversation with anybody that felt so inclined. Katie, she will be the first person to tell you the phrase that she will never be a victim again. And as a result of that, she actually is better with a pistol than I am. And she has probably far less of we'll call it attention span. If she has to pull that thing, the trigger's getting pulled is basically, I would try everything I could to talk somebody off of a ledge. She'd be like, I drew, you're dead, or I'm going to at least blow your leg off.
We did hear her murder a turkey live on the show. Hey, listen,
can I just point out that there's nothing like a fresh turkey? Fresh turkey,
it's true.
Never frozen, only shot once.
I've never had fresh turkey like that.
It's good.
Oh.
It is different. It is. I mean, obviously Lori has, and it's so tender. It's so there's more flavor. There's also more tryptophan. So if you eat a fresh turkey, you will fall asleep considerably quicker.
Oh,
yeah. yeah, for sure. Can we talk a little bit about what happened this weekend? So I was listening to the interview and stuff, and I've heard your comments. I mean, all of it is such a good conversation, right? I think that it really shows how passionate people are, because I think that Republicans sincerely feel there is a weakness within the Democratic Party, and that's Bob Ferguson, and that Republicans have a chance to win the gubernatorial seat. Now, I know that a lot of people on a national scale do not give Washington State a chance at having the Republicans win the governor's race. And I think that those national people are probably right, unfortunately, because I think too many people in the Republican Party are going to allow this stuff to take them too seriously, right? All the stuff with Semi Bird and all of the rest of that stuff, right? I get the impression there's too much hostility, there's too much anger, there's too much, and I this is going to sound bad when I say it like this, hey guys, I'm going to call right back. Okay, give me a minute. I got to call you back. I got an emergency. I'll call you back.
Go ahead. Okay, so we'll continue this. So as Paul said, even he thinks at this point there's too much animosity. There's too many issues going on in the middle.
Yeah, if there's a Republican in the governor's mansion, it won't be because of the efforts of the state party. It'll be because of the voters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the voters are fed up.
Let me ask you guys a question. You're in charge
of what?
Of the mythical Republican experience.
Oh, okay.
Okay, whatever that is.
And as it stands right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
What would you now? So no, your job is to fix it. So let me give you guys three options. Option number one, you can allow this to run its course and wait and see who comes out of the primary. Option number two, you convince Dave Reichert to stand out since Semi Bird has gotten the nomination. And option number three is you try to get Semi Bird to step out so Reichert gets the nomination. Do any of those save this scenario? Do any of those help a Republican garner a foothold to go back into to get into the governor's mansion? Because right now, I think Republicans' chances of taking the governor's office is on life support.
I agree. And out of the three options, if instead of fighting, if the state party could come together and cooperate, that would be way better.
Coalesce.
I mean, yeah. And the best way to do that, I mean, if you want my opinion of what I think Washington voters will go for, you put Dave Reichert in the governor's mansion, you make Semi Bird the lieutenant governor,
but again, you have to run for Semi.
I understand that, but I mean, that's why I mean a unified front, right? So you intentionally
Semi would have to be a cabinet,
right?
person.
You know, Semi comes out and says, "I'll
stand down.
You know, I'll take a lesser seat." And maybe be the guy next cycle.
Yeah, I wish,
but but no one wants to cooperate anymore. I mean, hell, the parties don't want to cooperate with each other. The parties don't want to cooperate with themselves within their own parties. And honestly, that's both sides. Mm-hmm. So I mean, this is all just it's one big glorious slide to hell.
Yeah,
I think for independents like me. The GOP convention just gave the green light to Mark Mullet. And I told you that before the show. He's really think that
Republican.
Huh?
He's Republican, right?
He's Democrat.
Was he Democrat?
Yeah, he's a moderate. And so
as long as he's not Sideshow Bob.
A lot of people do not want to see a repeat of 2020, 2021, 22, 23. You know, we're in 2024. Have we not learned how to talk and get along and be civil?
No, and
yeah, exactly.
And listen, the Republicans who are, as Robert said in chat, the Truth of Party and the party of truth and integrity or whatever, right? This doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I mean, anybody who is not an idiot,
right,
And again, I'm not saying if you're a Byrd supporter, you're an idiot. That's not what I'm saying. But anybody who's not an idiot knows that Reichert has a better chance of beating Bob Ferguson than Byrd does. Reichert is more moderate, which is what you're going to need in this state. Reichert has more money, which is what you're going to need in this state.
And politics.
Reichert has more name recognition, which is what you're going to need in this state. Reichert has the trifecta. And nobody who votes in November is going to give two rats' asses about who the party endorsed.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. Especially
The
when
party
party's
faithful
broke.
don't even care. Robert Parker is intertwined with the Republican Party on state and local levels. And he's not supporting the guy that the party endorsed. If he doesn't care who the party endorsed, why is anybody else going to care?
Well, it shouldn't be important in this state. The state votes blue, and we're hoping that a large enough portion of the population crosses the aisle to vote for someone out of their norm.
Yeah.
So, of course, they don't care about what the party's done.
I am firmly of the belief that the governor's office is Bob Ferguson's today. He might as well print up his stationery, get his
No.
business cards made,
No.
change his insurance address for his car,
No.
go in there and do a walk around and figure out how you're going to redecorate the place after Jay Inslee gets all of his old tchotchkes out of there. All right. Bob Ferguson might as well. In fact, if I met Bob Ferguson tomorrow, I'd say, hello, governor. And he's going to say, I'm not governor yet. I'm going to say, well, you might as well be because the Republicans have handed it to you on a silver freaking platter.
No.
I just hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too.
I'm hoping to have a little bit of faith in the voters of Washington State.
You know what they're going to do if Bob Ferguson becomes governor of this state? They're going to tax us. They're going to tax us on our poop.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Intake and outtake.
Yeah. Well, they're already taxing us on intake.
Oh, they're going to tax us on outtake. Oh, you
They
pooped.
tax on outtake.
Weigh that sumbitch and send it to us. We're going to get taxed to death. Literally to death.
We will.
We're going to be reminiscing about the times where gas was only $4 a gallon.
Yep.
We're going to be reminiscing about the time that inflation was actually as low as it is today. Because 4 years of Bob Ferguson's policies are going to make today's inflation look like the Reagan years. It's insane, man. And you know who you have to thank? Republicans. Congratulations. The Democrats didn't even have to do the work. I mean, and I love Robert Parker. But what did he do? He got together all the documents about Semi Byrd, put them on a website that everybody can find. Do you guys not believe for a minute that if Semi Byrd wins a nomination, which is more likely today than it was 5 days ago, if Semi Byrd wins the nomination, you've basically given Democrats the ammo to try to take him down. It's like fighting against the British, but giving them crap for their muskets. I mean, you've given them the opportunity. And believe me, listen, I'm not a genius. Shut up. I'm not a genius, but I'll tell you right now, there are Democrat people in Ferguson's campaign that are going through every single one of those docs and making notes. Oh, there's this. Write that down. Oh, wait. There's this. Write that down. Oh, we're going to get him on this. Write that down. They're keeping a running list. And I know why Robert shared it. And I know that Robert has integrity and believes in integrity and doesn't believe that Byrd has a whole lot of it and Byrd lied and all of that. I get it. But the dangerous side of the coin is if you're wrong, you've just armed the Dems with a whole bunch of stuff they can use against Byrd later.
Well, I mean, Reichert has spent time in Congress, so he's not squeaky clean anymore. I don't care what anyone says.
Robert says, I have not given them anything they don't already have. You haven't, but you have. You've put it in a conglomerated single source that everybody can get to, not just party leadership, but everybody. And by the way, here's the selling point. You ready for this? Remember how everybody was upset about Hillary Clinton being the one who concocted the story about Obama being from Kenya? And everybody came back and said, but look, it was Hillary that started it. It wasn't even Republicans. It was Hillary that started it. It became a big thing. I can imagine Democrats frothing at the mouth. And look, all this negative information on Byrd, it's not even from us. It's from other Republicans. Robert Parker, the king of the FOIA requests. I mean, optically, it's bad. And again, I know why you did it, and I'm not upset about it. I'm not saying you shouldn't have done it. But optically, it looks really, really bad if Byrd still gets the nomination. And Republicans amaze me to a fault at this point. Because Reichert was supposed to be the heir apparent. Now that's up in the air. DeSantis was supposed to be the heir apparent to Trump, and then he got smashed. Like, everybody wants to crown these heir apparent schmucks. And then they Republicans, it's like Republicans have ADD. I'll focus on this guy for a little bit, but not forever. Ooh, bright, shiny object. Let me look over here. Oh, Trump is back. Let's ignore DeSantis. Let's go back to Trump. Oh, Byrd did something wrong 30 years ago and didn't own up to it. Let's support Reichert. Reichert's too purple. Let's support Byrd. For a party that's supposed to have their crap wired tight and know what their morals and values and ethics are, the state Republican Party is in piss poor shape.
I'm going to go back to my previous day. I still think that's a whole West Coast thing. You know, the whole West Coast has become so blue and so progressive and so liberal that, you know, I mean, all the way up and down in all the legislators, the governor's mansion, everything. That's going to cause, shrinkage. It's like cold water.
Shrinkage like me in a pool.
That's what I was saying. Like, it's got cold water.
By the way, if you saw this story about my melt-away shorts in the hot tub when I was in Vegas, go read that and laugh your ass off. It isn't...
Kevin, I have to take a moment and just say you were a really good sport.
I'm always a good sport about stuff. I'm a fun guy.
It was funny.
Look, but here's why I disagree with you, Tom, about the whole West Coast thing, okay? The West Coast as a whole has no shot of a Republican doing anything.
I agree.
Washington State had a shot with Reichert. Reichert was polling at or ahead of Ferguson in every single poll that we either right there with him or a little bit ahead of him. That tells me Reichert had a chance. You're not going to get a Republican governor in California. You're not going to get a Republican governor in Oregon. But you had a chance with Reichert. And instead, the party hitched its wagon to Semi, whom I like and I would vote for, but has no money and no ability to get his message out.
Well, you can't doom it to failure yet. It hasn't happened.
It's done.
It hasn't happened.
What hasn't happened?
The vote.
For the nomination?
No. For the governor's mansion.
Oh, listen, it doesn't matter.
It does matter. It hasn't
Bob
happened
Ferguson
yet.
will be your governor. Bob Ferguson and Joe Biden will both win re-election because of Republicans' inability to rally together and keep their eyes on the ball. When we look at why this country is so effed up in 4 years, when we look at why the economy goes downhill, why that big banking crash is coming, why we find ourselves on potential wars on multiple fronts, you want to know who to blame for all of that? You can blame Democrats all you want to. Don't blame Republicans for failure to coalesce together, support somebody together, make decisions together, rally around together, and do the right thing. Instead, there is so much bickering and infighting that Joe Biden wins re-election and Bob Ferguson becomes the next governor of the great state of Washington.
Yeah, there's bickering and infighting on the other side of the aisle too, though.
But then you're given a hard get out of jail free card to the Dems.
I'm not, but the Democrats aren't hiding what they're doing.
No, I know that, but they're the ones that are screwing the
yes,
pooch.
but they're not lying about what they're trying to do. I said this
Yes,
a long
they
time
are.
ago. No, they're not.
They're politicians. They're lying to you.
But they've all made it
Pelosi's a
clear what they want,
millionaire.
right? They've all made it clear what they want, right? They want to forgive student loans. They want to increase
Insider
taxes.
trading.
They want insider trading. They want to stop drilling on federal lands. They want to increase our dependence on oil from foreign countries. All the stuff that they're doing is stuff that they've said they're going to do. Now, they put flowers and roses on it to make it look and smell pretty. But it was like I said before, like way a long time ago when Paul hated Barack Obama. I said, well, you be mad at Barack Obama all you want to, but he's not doing anything he didn't say he was going to do. He made it clear that Obamacare was the most important thing on his agenda, and he was going to do it. And guess what? He did it. The Democrats aren't doing anything now that they haven't told us that they're going to do. Meanwhile, Republicans can't coalesce. They can't run a waste. They can't fundraise. They're dysfunctional as hell. And then they're surprised when nobody wants to vote for him. The Republicans are like me. On paper, I'm a catch. I look good. I've lost a lot of weight. I feel good. I can sing. I'm a funny guy. I'm really good at doing things I can't say on AM. Like, on the face, I'm a great candidate until you get to know me. Until you know all the background stories. And then you're like, holy Christ.
Oh, you got
this is like voting for Semi Bird. This is not going to work.
You have a bet in the chat there, sir.
Robert said, want to bet a bottle of good tequila. I bet that Reichert beats Bird. Double dare you to take my bet. Robert, don't we already have a bet on Biden for a bottle of tequila? Because I think we made one. I think we made one a couple weeks ago. So I'll wait for Robert to chime in. Corey says I'm a 7 at best. Whatever. Shut up, Corey. Actually, I settled for a 7 because most women I've dated will say I'm a 3. Look.
Dude, you own a home. There. I mean, you own property. You have a job. You're way above a 3.
Maybe.
That should be our next topic.
I thought, Robert, that we made a bet because I said Biden was going to win re-election no matter what now because of the anti-Trump hate and because of the abortion issue. And I thought we'd placed a bet on that, but maybe we didn't. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, Robert, I'll take your bet. I think Bird winds up with the nomination.
You do?
Yeah, with the state nomination. I don't think Bird wins the primary. The primary nomination. I don't think Reichert gets the primary now. I mean, honestly, again, I don't want him to because I don't think he can win, no matter how much I like the guy. But I don't know how Reichert wins now. The party is working against you. Your own freaking party, man. That'd be like if Donald Trump was running for the White House and Melania Trump was campaigning for Biden.
Now, do you think Reichert walked away from the endorsement, withdrew his request for it, for just because he's watching the state party fall apart?
Well, I think it's because the state party was screwing him. The state party said, we're going to pull Bird off, but we're also going to pull Reichert off. They didn't say we're going to pull Bird off the ballot and vote on Reichert, which is what they should have done. And if there were too many Bird supporters and Reichert didn't get enough votes to endorse him, then fine. But they never should have just flat pulled Reichert off the ballot for no good reason.
Oh, I agree.
They should have left him on there. And again, if I'm Reichert, I'm a little pissed. If this is how you're going to do me, then why would I go there?
So why wouldn't he just go ahead and strike out on his own and run of his own accord?
As an independent?
Yeah.
No, because independence one. Just the idea of an independent next to your name costs you 20 percentage points. People are lemmings.
I would say yes under ordinary circumstances. I just don't know if this is ordinary or not.
People are lemmings.
Oh, I agree.
Hey, we're going to go to break. I'm going to go use the restroom. And I promise, once I'm done in there, you do not want to use it. You want to put up some hazmat suits and stay away. Hopefully I'm back before the break ends. Outlaw Radio. Admin a la carte are specialized local experts committed to helping you run your small business. From general admin and sales support to marketing, digital media and technology to real estate and compliance, Admin a la carte's only goal is to take your business to the next level. Find out how Admin a la carte can elevate your business. Visit admin-alacarte.com for more information. That's admin-alacarte.com. Admin a la carte. Your business doesn't fit into a box. Why should you have to? Hey, it's K-Dog with the Outlaw Radio Network. We are everywhere. You can follow us on all your favorite social media channels, including Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Vimeo, and more. And if you want to follow me personally, hop on your Twitter and just search for K-Dog the Outlaw. And don't forget our really cool website, outlawradionetwork.com, full of all the cool merch you've been looking for. Outlaw Radio Network. Are you an outlaw yet?
Are you ready to elevate your spirits? Look no further than Black Rain Spirits, your local craft distillery nestled in Town Square Mall. Indulge in the smooth richness of our handcrafted spirits, meticulously distilled to perfection. Whether you prefer the bold kick of our bourbon or the subtle sophistication of our gin, Black Rain Spirits has something for every palate. Visit us today at Town Square Mall and experience the essence of true craftsmanship. Black Rain Spirits, where passion meets perfection, unconventionally traditional.
Outlaw Radio Network.
So what's your most important local ingredient? Like that one that's used the most?
All of them?
The tears of liberals.
Oh my God, a vodka, and call it Liberal Tears. Liberal Tears. We'll buy bottles routinely. We will give it away.
Outlaw Radio Network presents Liberal Tears. That's beautiful. That's awesome.
That's the Outlaw Radio Network, Sunday nights from 8 to 11, only on Megatalk.
This is Spike Cohen, the reigning and defending Libertarian vice presidential candidate, and you're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network.
Chili.
That's a lot of detail, dude.
TMI.
Yeah,
TMI.
that's a lot of detail.
All right, Outlaw Radio. Rick said in chat, as we were talking about the whole semi-bird thing, Rick said
we have
in
a
chat,
caller, too.
Who's the caller?
One Robert Parker.
Guys, didn't I say it when it rang? I said it when it rang. Hold on, Robert. Rick said in chat, Kevin, you said a bunch of times the Washington GOP has no money. How strongly can it really work against Reichert? Well, the problem is it doesn't have to now. The problem is it just works against itself. Like the narrative is there. Hello, Robert.
Hey, Kevin.
What's going on, buddy?
I'll tell you what. If Byrd makes it through the primary, I will buy a great bottle of tequila and present it to you on air.
Okay, and if he doesn't, I will buy a almost as great bottle of tequila and present it to you on air.
Oh no, equal good bottles of tequila.
Okay,
something around the $3 bill area.
Oh, you're talking. Okay, all right, you're on. No, you're good.
We're on, buddy.
You're on.
That's a nice bottle of tequila.
I know.
Yeah,
you're on.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
good luck, guys.
Figured,
have fun.
Let's put it right where it should be. You got 20 points to make up right now. That's what you got to make up.
No, I know. I just, Robert, I'm disenfranchised with the continuing infighting within the Republican Party.
Well, basically, Byrd, was out there taunting and doing all that stuff and said he was willing to break the party. Well, he has. He's successful. But that doesn't mean that Reichert's not going to win. The convention is all about people in the bubble. People still don't know Simi Byrd, and he's still going to lose. He still has no money. And I'm willing to bet $300 right there on the plate. And I think you're going to
$300. No, you said $3 bills.
Yeah,
that's like $100.
$300.
Oh, okay. All right. $300.
Yeah,
All right.
I said $3 bills, 300.
All right, that's fine.
I understood these.
And I think what happened at convention. Now, my hat is off to Simi Byrd. He put together an aggressive stance for convention. I'm a little disappointed in Reichert. Not that he walked out. I think he should have walked out. But I think he should have taken the stage and then said, this process has been corrupted. And I can tell you personally, it was corrupted. I was one of those people that were talking at midnight in the backfield about what they were going to do and why they were doing it and why I was so offended by it.
Mm-hmm.
That system was rigged. And they rigged to not have a huge outburst because Simi did a fantastic job of getting delegates there. He even chartered buses to get them there. He's still broke. He's broker than he's been in a long time because of it.
So he's more broke
because
now.
he put all of his money on the line. And he did a good job of it. I take nothing away from Simi on that. But in the end, that means nothing. He's not going to get any big checks. Hell, he even worked against the fundraising for the WSRP they had blocks of rooms that were rented or that were guaranteed. And Simi Bird then puts out all the cheap hotels in town that weren't the endorsed ones, which ended up costing WSRP cash.
Mm-hmm.
He undermined the party. And it's not going to work out long term for him. And it's not, you see all this stuff about, oh, this is 30 years ago. I don't care about the 30 years. I never have. What I care about is he's lied to thousands of people. He's done it on video. He's done it on audio. He's done it in the newspapers. He's done it on that convention floor. He's done it at party meetings. And those lies aren't going to go away. All he had to do was inoculate and say something like, hey, you know what? I've got a battleground in my past. And I struggled for a couple of decades, but you know what? I made it. And I want to help you make it too. Make me your governor. All of that, except his most recent stuff, would have just blown to the backfield. But no, each step along the way, he has lied to people.
Mm-hmm.
He has come out and attacked people that actually put up the actual court documents. He's claimed that the court documents are fake, even though you put up the document and then you put a link right to the court records to where they can pull it up. What does he think? We're stupid that somebody's running around there and inserting records in the courts? That's the problem. He's a liar and a filthy liar. Yeah. And he's presented himself as like this false prophet. And people are following him. And to me, that's what makes me angry. Why did I put up Bird Docs? Well, it wasn't just me. It was about a half a dozen of us that worked on it. But why did I do that? Because people deserve the truth. The good or the bad. Now, am I angry with Reichert because he didn't take that stage? Absolutely. And I have told his campaign where I've tried to stay away from his campaign so people couldn't make that claim that I was working on Reichert's campaign, even though they were making it.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed away from that, but I can tell you, I blew up almost everybody on his campaign staff over that. I said, I don't know who made that call, but I said, I'm offended. I just spent $1,000 and a weekend to go to Spokane for my guy not to take the stage, and that's not appropriate. He should have stood up there and he should have said, this thing is rigged. They have manipulated this process. I am walking out of this because it no longer has integrity. We stand for voter integrity and we stand for the truth. And I'm asking for my delegates to walk out with me. That's what he should have done. But, hindsight's 20/20 also. But I can tell you that a lot of those delegates weren't even there to vote anymore. I was one of them. Yeah. I left. I would not cast a vote for Simi Bird, and I would not walk through that mud any longer. And when he says he won by 72%, he won by 72% of the delegates that were still left there. Many of them left in disgust along with the donors.
But there wasn't a requirement for them to have enough voters or enough ballots
you have
to be
over
cast?
50% of the delegates still there at the floor.
Oh, okay.
But normally, when we go to a vote for suspending the rules, Normally, that's a 2/3 vote. They allowed 50% plus one.
Mm-hmm.
That's different than we do. That's different than Robert's rules. That's different. And they say, oh, well, we went by Robert's rules. No, you didn't. Because Robert's rules says 2/3 vote plus one. And what they did was a 50% plus one. I can tell you that I was still on the phone getting text at midnight when they were all putting all of that crap through. And they were trying to figure out what they were going to do because there were so many Byrd people there and they were worried about people rioting.
Yeah.
Because Simi had them spun up into a frenzy. He did a good job of spinning them up. And yes, he panicked WSRP at that point. And they tried to figure out the best they could do, and it exploded on them. Now, for the delegates, I don't think the delegates did anything wrong whatsoever. And I'm not against the delegates at all. I'm angry with Simi Byrd because he's lied over and over. And he was basically trying to incite that thing to blow up. He said what he set out to do, he did. And it was damaging. It cost the party money. It cost the party support. It made us look like fools in the press. And there is no getting around that. But that is not going to change. That Simi Byrd is going to lose the primary. And that's just facts. It's out there. You can look at all the polls. He's even called every poll in the state illegitimate.
Right.
Rigged. No, he's lying. And so for me, at this point, I'm going to help Reichert. I'm going to help him the very best that I can. Because I don't want a con man as a governor, because he's even been on his podcast saying that he's going to put in a state of emergency as soon as he's elected to start putting his agenda forward. What makes him different than the tyrant we had right now? We just spent 3 years going through that crap with it. And Simi wants to call state of emergency to pass his agenda?
What's the emergency?
Well, we'll just have the legislature stay home.
What's the emergency? What's the emergency, supposedly?
He really hasn't made that clear.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have something to point at if you say state of emergency.
I'm just telling you what the guy says.
Yeah, no, I'm just curious where his imagination is taking him.
That's what's offending me, is what he says is not true. And that is the crux of this. It's not that he had 30 years of background that was trash. It's that he has currently lied about it. So, I have a copy of the vetting form for WSRP. What they're saying is everybody's focusing on the 30 years stuff and the 20 years and the 15 years because that's what Simi's told them to focus on. It's about one item on that vetting form that says, do you have anything in your backfield that will be embarrassing to the Washington State Party or Republicans? Period. Byrd did not disclose. If you look at Kitsap Republican Party's candidate vetting form, the same question is there. He answered that, see my resume. And he left every one of his defunct companies off of it, which every single one of his companies are closed down now.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't get away with a lie. Not like that. But that lie is huge.
Robert, let me ask you a question, though.
Yeah.
Simi Byrd makes it out of the primary and becomes the Republican nominee for governor.
Yes.
With everything you've said, do you still vote? Would you vote for him?
Yes, because he's better than Ferguson. But would I help him get to there? No, because that's my integrity and I won't take it.
Right. Okay.
He doesn't get to own that. He doesn't get to go on his little podcast and call me a cockroach. He doesn't get to call me a rhino. No, I won't support Simi Byrd other than if he makes it to the general, I will check that box and I'll probably puke the second after I do it.
Probably.
And you can quote me on that.
Yeah.
Everybody else does, so why not? But it's so I am I'm not taking anything away from what Simi did at the convention. What he did at the convention was actually, for his point in the position he was in, it was excellent. Well played. Very, very well played.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean anything, to the ballot other than destroy the down ticket. But as far as defending himself, I could not spend a year and lay out a better strategy than he played.
Yeah.
He even had private meetings where he was calling all of his delegates away from the floor to manipulate the next process.
Well, someone knows what they were doing. Somebody knows what they were doing. We'll see what happens. Robert, I think you're going to owe me some tequila, but we'll find out.
Dude, I already know you're going to owe me some tequila, and I'm going to enjoy you presenting it to me right there in the studio.
All right, sounds good.
And
Robert,
if you win, I will just as proudly come and deliver you a bottle.
You're outstanding. All right, Robert. We'll chat soon.
All right, buddy.
All right,
Talk
there
to
he
you
goes,
soon.
Robert
Bye.
Parker. Look, we've spent the entire show almost talking about this whole Semi Bird thing. I do think it's a fascinating discussion. But it's not an island. It seems to me to be a party-wide issue. On the national level with Trump and all of that, and that kind of infighting, bickering there, to the state level, all the way down to the local level, which, and I wasn't going to bring this with Robert on the air because I'm not trying to put him in a bad spot, but we still have the Michelle Calder issue, who, my personal feelings for her aside, 3 years ago, Michelle Calder was persona non grata. She was awful. She was horrible. We need to get another Republican in there to take her seat. The party's going to run somebody up against her. She shows up, kicks everybody's ass that tries to run against her. And now last year and this year, she's part of the Kitsap County Republican Party again, and she's getting backed. It's like there's so much, and there's other infighting I know about that I'm not going to talk about on the air. But it is so insane to me.
Thing is,
that the party on every level can't come together.
On the national level, though, that's just the state of politics, because the Democrats are tearing themselves apart too over Israel Hamas, or Israel Palestine, or Israel Palestine Hamas, however you want to label it. But
St. Paul returns to the conversation.
They're attacking themselves over vote uncommitted.
Yeah, but that was just in the primary.
Right? No, I understand that. Well,
they're not going to do that come November.
Well, neither will the GOP here.
I disagree.
Come November,
It's August, isn't the primary in August?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The GOP's hosed in the state, dude. The GOP is done in the state.
When I'm going to go back to the
That's
West
not
Coast.
True. That's not true.
Why is that not true, Paul? Tell me why I'm wrong.
It's. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I just want to be clear about that, because I understand your logic and I actually do not find fault with it. But here's what I would say to you: you make a comment based upon your assessment that the GOP may be dead, because in the last couple of gubernatorial races, we've run into situations where the GOP is more interested in fighting amongst themselves than coalescing behind a candidate. I suggest to you that, in point of fact, during the Culp Freed debacle of 4 years ago, after, as much as Republicans, half of them did not like Culp, okay, they did pinch their noses and, to avoid the smell, and voted for him. So that really didn't tend to be much of an issue for Culp. The problem with Culp is that he was not a candidate that was able to be coalesced behind by moderates.
Right.
Right. So the moderates went with the devil they knew in Jay Inslee. The only way that Republicans win this is with a candidate who's able to reach across the aisle, grab those moderates, and get them to vote for him. I'm going to say this, much to the chagrin of a lot of my Republican friends that are listening. Let's pretend for a moment that Semi Bird wins the primary. Do you think that Democrats are going to say he's a black Republican, so I'm not voting for him? Do you think that's what those moderates are going to say? Are they going to look into his records? I think that the more liberal moderates are not going to have a problem voting for an African American, because they're going to be able to identify with who he is and where he's come from. He could turn it into a strength, much not unlike what Tara Simmons did. Okay. Now, whether he can do that on a state level obviously remains to be seen.
Wait, are you saying that Tara Simmons is African American? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I don't know how to take that.
No, I'm just being funny. Go ahead.
Because she can identify as whatever she wants nowadays, right?
Touche.
I had some court stuff going on last week, had a deposition and everything I had to go to. And I told him, I said, well, I don't identify as the defendant here. So not sure why I'm here. Anyway, here's the thing. Does Dave Reichert, I think, have a better shot? I think he does. I think he has the experience and the money to back him up. But because of the way that he performed and the way that he acted, I will echo what Robert Parker said on the show Sunday. Like, Republicans have a legitimate reason to be very upset and disappointed with him. Now, does that mean they won't coalesce behind him if he wins the primary? I don't think so at all. I think that there may be some holdouts, but you're talking about, half of a percent of Republican voters within the state. That's how many of those Republican voters were married to the idea of Semi Bird. And I don't blame them for being married to Semi Bird. We liked him. I liked the guy.
Yeah,
I did a big, long diatribe on my Facebook page about how I supported him. Now, you made a point earlier about the mistakes that he made were all those years ago, and he's a new person. I'm going to disagree with you on that and tell you where the problem comes in. The problem comes in because he lied recently about this.
Right.
He failed to acknowledge the larceny when he filled out his background paperwork. And he basically told the Republican Party, this is who I am. The whole point of being honest about that stuff isn't so you can keep stuff hidden. It's so that you can prepare a statewide campaign. And you know that you're going to, every candidate will have issues come up, right? You've got to be able to prepare your counterattack for any issue that arises. That's why you have to be honest about that stuff.
Yep.
He chose to keep it a secret, and he did that recently. So he can't really say, well, that happened a long time ago. That's not me anymore. Well, actually it is. It is still you because you just did this. You just, it's a lie through omission. But look, you also made a great point. Can anybody think of a candidate off the top of your head that isn't full of crap and doesn't lie when it suits him? Because I don't know any. I don't know any.
I don't either.
So
that's the nature of politics.
What?
That's the nature
maybe
of
for
politics.
you libertarians, but not maybe for you libertarians, but definitely not for Republicans.
Oh, you
can't.
You can't call libertarians out like that. We don't have a footing. We don't have a footing nationally or at the state level. But politicians lie.
Look at the last Republican president. Dude did not lie about anything. He was squeaky freaking clean. Okay.
This sarcastic moment brought to you by Black Ring Spirits.
Oh.
Well, I was mansplaining Donald Trump to a libertarian. Okay.
But Paul, let me give you the one other reason I think the Republican Party's dying.
Just kidding, Tom. I love you. I love you, Tom. I love you, Tom.
Mwah.
Let me give you another reason why I think the Libertarian Party's dying, though, Paul.
The Libertarian Party?
The Republican Party. The Libertarian Party's already dead.
It's not dead. It's still growing.
They were
barely hatched.
They were aborted in the womb. Listen,
barely hatched.
Listen, here's why the Republican Party is dying. Because not only can they not get out of their way and stop the infighting, but they have no money. Like the party is bereft of money.
That's a legitimate. Yeah, look what you're saying right now is legitimate. The GOP in Washington State is broke. But why is the state party broke? Right? I don't have an answer for that, and I don't know anything about the fundraising arm of the state party, so I can't even. Maybe they just haven't been doing fundraising. I have no idea.
I think I know. I think I know why. Because if you're a Republican and you look at the last 20 years in this state, and if you want to donate money, and you donate your money, it looks like it's wasted. Republicans have lost more and more seats in the House, more and more seats in the Senate. They're not getting any closer to, before this election specifically, of taking the governor's mansion. They tout out these high-profile candidates, Tiffany Smiley and a whole bunch of other ones, that they think might be able to make some noise and they get trounced, and it's not even close.
Well, no, Tiffany Smiley didn't get trounced, and yes, it was pretty close.
I'm speaking generally, right? Like the red wave was supposed to, and all this other stuff happens. And Republicans make a lot of noise that they're going to do something. Nothing happens. If you're a donor and you're looking at the state of the Republican Party in the state of Washington right now, what do you see? A party going nowhere that's losing steam, losing seats, losing percentages of votes. Why would you donate to that? It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You don't have the money to build up your candidates. You don't have the money
to.
That's
not how the donor class works, bro.
I
mean, it's not right. You have donors that will donate to the party because they have too much money and don't have enough time to do stuff with it. And I mean, that's the political donor class in a nutshell, right?
Yeah.
They flash money around and they hand it out. I'm just saying, and haven't we heard it every year for the last 20 years? Oh, the Republican Party's dead. Republican Party's dead. Right? The Republican Party has come back from the dead more times than,
Lazarus. Lazarus.
Fine, Lazarus. I'm just saying that I think you understand what I'm saying. Like we've heard that a lot because we've thought that they were dead. But listen, this is not a shot at Democrats. This is a shot at the far left. The saving grace this year of the Republican Party is the far left.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing happening on college campuses right now and around this country is I think going to be just as much as the abortion issue helped out the Democrats in the last midterm. Seeing the far left, the demands they're making of people and the things they're doing and saying right now on colleges around the country, I feel it's going to shift a lot of people who are going to say, yeah, I can't go any further that direction, right? I got to come back to the middle more. I think that is something that is going to happen. There was an article today that was published that very specifically talked about, and this was written by a leftist, and he talked about how the party has gone so far to the left that the swastika is now chic, right? And he's like dead serious writing this article.
Ooh.
And he's like, these people have gone so far to the left. Now one of their chants is America needs to die and I am Hamas. Like you can't be any more detached from reality as one of these college kids right now. Watching a college professor not being allowed on his own campus because they fear for his safety, but at the same time won't provide him any protection. They're letting these student protesters run rampant.
Mm-hmm.
And I for those that don't know, I posted in our chat room a demonstrable little event that happened on the Golden Gate Bridge. There were some leftist protesters who shut the bridge down. And what they did was they poured concrete in these little drums with PVC pipe through it. And in that PVC pipe, they actually put a piece of rebar for the people to hold on to and to handcuff themselves to. So that in order to get them off of the bridge, they had to basically chisel through concrete and everything else to get to their hands inside of these things. And as you're watching the view from the police officers who are removing, they get to this guy's hand and it shows him he's holding on to that piece of rebar. And the cops are slowly pulling the piece of rebar out of the PVC pipe. And this dude is screaming at the top of his lungs, "Stop! You're hurting me! Oh my God, stop twisting the rebar. It's cutting into my hand." And this dude's just going off at the top of his lungs about how brutal these cops are being because they're literally gently, slowly pulling up this piece of rebar. Dude is still screaming about what they're doing to his hand with the rebar after the cops have already pulled the rebar out and they're standing there holding it. That in a nutshell shows the ridiculousness of this situation.
Oh, hold
to
on,
top
Paul,
it off, did you
Paul,
know that
Paul,
there
Paul,
are
hold
still
on,
three Americans that are hostages of Hamas?
Paul, hold on.
Hamas released a video today.
Paul, hold on. We're going to top of the hour break. Hold that thought. Hold on. Outlaw Radio.
You're listening to the Outlaw Radio Network.
Outlaw Radio. All
Paul
right.
hung up and then.
Oh, there he is. There he is. Okay.
Oh, nope.
Is that Paul?
No, that's just the sound of a ringer.
Hey, the phone's ringing. Don't you hear it ringing?
I know. The phone's ringing, but there's nothing lighting up, so I can't push a button.
Oh.
We have a wiring thing. Paul, if you're listening, call back again. All I did was mute you. You didn't have to hang up. He wasn't listening.
He may not have meant to. He may not have meant to. Hold on. He's messaging us. Oh. All right, I just sent him a message. All right, I'm going to play this really quick just because this was the best clip that I've heard all day today. Let me bring it up on
StreamYard.
On StreamYard, so we can bring it up so everybody can enjoy this. This might be the best moment ever. I hope we can hear it. I'm sure the listeners will be able to. So this is Joe Biden earlier today.
Imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pause.
Pancakes.
All right. So I don't know if you guys heard it or not. If you did, let us know. Basically, Joe Biden is reading from the teleprompter, and he says, 4 more years. Pause. Like he says the word pause out loud because he's reading off the teleprompter. And he pauses because everybody in the room starts chanting, 4 more years, 4 more years. And
yeah, pause.
Yeah, pause. It's just so dumb. It is so dumb. Hold on. Trying to see if anybody. Okay. Anyway, so if you get a chance to watch the clip, it's just funny. He says 4 more years, pause.
Yeah. The first.
That is our commander.
That is our commander in chief.
Yeah.
As one of the comments said, the president is he who controls the teleprompter. All right, quickly, let's check some comments in the chat really quick. Corey said, I talked to at least 3 customers a day about politics for the last 4 years and get a lot of info from average people in Washington, all political backgrounds. Margie said, who owns America? Not me. I don't have that kind of credit limit.
Big Pharma.
Yeah. Corey said, I think a lot of Washington voters have given up donating for Republicans due to mail-in ballot voting with all the recounts we have in major elections, and Dems always come out on top. That's probably true. I also think there's a competitive market for who you're donating money to.
Mm-hmm.
You can donate to the party or to a candidate or to a PAC. Well, if you think your money's going to be wasted in Washington State, wouldn't you give it to a PAC? Wouldn't you give it to something national? Wouldn't you give it to a nonprofit group that protects the Second Amendment? Things that you see as more viable than backing a candidate that you think is going to get their asses handed to them. Just a thought. Robert says donors will go directly to candidates that they support rather than through the WSRP. That's already happening. Yep, that's true. That's true. Corey said Smiley would have won if she'd kept her abortion opinion to herself. I don't think so. I think Smiley was doomed no matter what.
I don't think so.
I think Smiley was doomed no matter what. I think it's going to be nearly impossible for a Republican to win a major seat in this state.
I think Patty Murray was running scared.
You think so?
Yeah. She sunk a lot of money.
I think the only
DNC sunk a lot of money into Washington against
I
Tiffany.
think the only time Patty Murray runs scared was when somebody's trying to give her some integrity.
Oh.
Not off base on that one.
She's awful. She's just deplorable. She's God. All right. I'm waiting to see if
Insider
Paul's going to
trading.
call back in, but he hasn't messaged. And so we'll just see what he says.
And it's
All right.
9:00.
It is 9:00. Dennis, do you have any parting shots for us?
No. Cooperate for kids. Hug a person with pants on. And if they don't have pants, bring them a sheet. Let them toga it out.
Toga.
He said sheet.
Toga. He said sheet. I need to take a sheet. Oh. All right. By the way, I didn't know we had company out there until I went out to use the bathroom. There were two people in the lobby that I'd never seen before. I'm like, who are you? And
That's
she's like, I'm Dennis's
my
daughter.
stepdaughter,
Yeah.
Missy's oldest daughter.
Nice. That's
My
outstanding.
grandson's mama.
Okay.
Nice.
Good news, man. Good to see them down here. All right. Lori, do you have any parting shots?
I do.
Also, listeners, if you have parting shots, put them in the chat. And I'll read them no matter what they say. Go ahead.
Well, that's scary.
Go ahead, Lori.
Anyways.
Well, we're on Facebook. He can.
That's right.
We're
Go
going to
ahead.
ban me
We're
from
on
Facebook?
Facebook.
Fuck you, Zuckerberg. Go ahead. I said Zuck you, by the way. I didn't say a bad word. Zuck you, Zuckerberg.
Anyways.
Zuck you, Fuckerberg.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Okay. So for all of you who are concerned about voter integrity, ballot boxes, all of that, now is the time.
Now is the time.
I'm going to hurt you.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, she's reaching for the twat waffle.
Now is the time to reach out to your county auditor's office.
And cry.
Start sending those emails, sending postcards, asking about voter integrity, ballot rolls. They need to go and take the voter rolls against the post office's deceased list. And when they do that, you can ask them to confirm that they've done that and what day it was. Please, 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 in the state of Washington, the Secretary of State is not required to follow up with each county. So in the Kim Wyman days, she left it up to the auditors. So big counties, and I know this for a fact, big counties like King County, where I moved from, deliberately had not done that in over 20 years. This is where you get deceased people voting.
Yeah.
So please start now.
And it seems dead people vote blue.
Yeah, it does.
It's weird.
Doesn't it? Start now.
You're
And have a happy
making
spring.
me. You're not making me feel good about things. All right.
I'm empowering you. I'm giving knowledge. Let's go, people.
All right. Do you have any parting shots there, Tomas?
Yes.
What do you got?
Monday, the 29th, yours truly is going to be...
Monday
only.
You'll get the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. Go ahead.
Actually, you probably don't want a seat at all. So,
Okay, what do you got?
Monday I will be doing a liquor tasting at Whiskey Gulch. The time's getting adjusted a little bit, but it'll be featuring nothing but Black Ring spirits.
So you'll be tasting liquor?
No, I'll be serving
Monday?
liquor. You'll be tasting it,
Monday.
hopefully. Yeah,
April
Monday.
29th.
29th.
After work.
Yes.
After work.
Yeah, it'll be late afternoon, evening. The time's still getting nailed down, but I'll know what the time is by Sunday. So
I might have a child or two that could offer Uber services for
Wow.
those who really want to get involved.
hey,
Hey.
there you go.
Hey.
So I am working like a lunatic to try to get my gin ready so I can
I
have the
bet.
gin part of the tasting.
Do you have a bathtub to put it in? That'd be a really
That'd be
cool
really
display.
funny.
I bet
And-
I can get something together.
If I could get some little ceramic bathtubs that would
Uh-huh.
hold a 750 milliliter bottle,
Uh-huh.
I would probably use it as a marketing thing.
Fine.
Yep.
I know where to find those.
Oh, really?
We'll talk.
We should talk.
We should talk. Heather, we need to talk.
I think she's still listening.
She is.
She loves
Okay.
this show. She
So
loves
Whiskey
us.
Gulch, Monday, April 29th.
Yes.
Times are fluctuating, but after work.
Yeah, originally it was supposed to be like right around the 3:00 hour, but
Oh,
there's
too
some,
early.
yeah, it was too early and something was double booked in their
Mm-hmm.
space. So I don't know the exact time yet.
After work, people.
Yes,
After
that
work.
conversation was had with a bar manager earlier, so we'll know more definitely by Sunday.
Dennis, can you try to call Paul real quick?
Bum, 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 bum. Uh-oh. We're having internet.
Oh, we're
issues.
having internet issues, which may explain why the phone isn't working.
Yep. Bum, 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 wow.
Ah. Yeah, it's fun. And Heather brought it up in our chat. All of a sudden, folks out there in the world, if you've been trying to email Black Ring Spirits, we can't hear you.
Oh no.
Something's gone weird with our email address. It's hosted by Google, by Gmail.
Boss baby.
But yeah, I didn't even think to shoot Andy a message. Go, Andy, will you help me? I'm stupid. Andy, if you're listening, will you help me? I'm stupid.
I'm tagging her right now. She's gonna hate my guts, but you know.
And I didn't even think to bother the boss baby. So
You should totally bother the boss baby. She likes that.
Really? Okay. Huh. That's not the it's not the gist I've gotten, but you know, well, whatever.
All right, well, let's wrap this thing up then. I don't think we're going to get Paul back on. If we're having internet issues and our phones are voice over IP, that might explain why there's an issue with him getting back through.
Sorry, Paul.
On behalf of Dennis, Tom, Lori, and Paul, this is K-Dog. Thanking you for checking out the show tonight. We're back on Sunday.
Sunday.
Do we have a guest on Sunday?
Just you.
Guest on Sunday. Why do I feel like we have a guest on Sunday?
Well, you'll be here.
We don't have a guest on Sunday.
Do we have?
I'm not a guest. I'm a host.
Solo artist on
What?
Sunday? Is Sunday the solo artist?
I have no idea.
Wydaws is next Wednesday, I think.
What's that? Your guest?
No, Wydaws Racing.
Oh yeah, White House will be in. Are the Derby folks coming in next Wednesday, Dennis? Is that right?
Next Wednesday we should be having Ty and Jeff in.
When's the first event of the year?
May 18th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Mountain
My
Helms Day.
dad's birthday.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so May 18th is a Saturday. I will be sure to be there.
Yep.
I'm going to go to that
Opening
one.
night's always a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, Robert's already putting his order in for his tequila.
See, this is why I can't make bets with Robert, because
Mas Añejo.
Robert will just brag and brag and brag like he's going to win, and then he'll get lucky and win, and then it'll just be stupid.
Oh.
All right. All right.
Parting shots, Kevin.
What's that?
What's your parting shot, dude?
I don't really have any. It's good to be back.
Stand up and show the masses.
Well, show the masses.
Look, show them your sexy bod.
So much weight, looking slim,
Look
and
at the-
trim, and svelte over here.
There you go.
At this rate, I'm going to find a wife sometime before 2057. Yeah.
It's your damn shirt.
I know. It's my damn shirt. So, that's going to wrap up the show for us tonight. We appreciate it, guys. We'll see you again on Sunday at 8 p.m. If you haven't shared the show, do so now. We are coming up on the grand drawing for another set of merch to go out. So be sure to do that. And otherwise, we love you guys and appreciate you, except for Robert. I want my tequila. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Peace out, bitches.